Hello, good evening and welcome to Sports News. We've got a juicy half hour for you because a juicy series, T20 series in New Zealand is coming up after the ODI triumph there. Also, all the English Premier League updates. First up, though, are headlines. After ODI triumph, Men in Blue aim to carry the momentum forward to the T20 format. Series will provide opportunity to youngsters to stake a claim for a World Cup spot. Vidarbha lose 2 early wickets in their second innings on day 3 of the Ranji Trophy final. Faiz Fazal-led side takes a lead of 60 runs with 8 wickets remaining at the close of play. In the Premier League, Liverpool missed the chance to go 5 points clear to the top. West Ham hold Jurgen Klopp's men to a 1-1 draw. Result leaves Liverpool with only 3-point advantage over Manchester City. Investigators spot a body in the wreckage of a plane carrying Argentine footballer Emiliano Sala and his pilot. Rescue teams are now developing a recovery plan for the plane, which is 67 meters below water. Well, first up, let's set up the India-New Zealand T20 series for you. But after a comfortable ODI series victory in New Zealand, India now face the hosts in a 3-match T20 series, which will kick off on Wednesday at Wellington. Skipper Virat Kohli has been given much-needed rest and has already returned from the tour. In the absence of Kohli, Rohit Sharma steps in as the captain and will be looking to lead India to back-to-back series victories in New Zealand. But how will the T20 series pan out for the Men in Blue? Let's take a look in this match preview.
Having clinched the 5-match ODI series 4-1, the Indian cricket team will be looking to dominate the T20 series against New Zealand. For the record, New Zealand have been India's bogey team in the 20-over format. No team has a better record against India than the Kiwis. India have played 2 T20s in New Zealand previously and they are yet to taste success. 10 years since the previous series in New Zealand, India are ranked number 2 in the T20 rankings, while the Kiwis are ranked 6th. The rankings are not only reflective of the consistency of the two teams but also recent form. While India have dominated most of their opponents, the Kiwis have struggled for success. New Zealand have won only 2 of their last 11 T20s, even suffering 6 consecutive losses, which was broken with their most recent win against Sri Lanka. India, on the other hand, have lost only 2 of their last 15 T20s. India's success in the format in the last year includes a tournament win in Sri Lanka, bilateral series win in South Africa, England and Ireland, apart from wins at home against the West Indies and a drawn series in Australia. New Zealand will hope to feed off the good vibes they feel at the Westpac Stadium in Wellington, given their impressive record. The Kiwis have a 6-3 win-loss record at the venue and have been victors in their last 4 T20 games. Indian captain Rohit Sharma has an impressive CV as captain in T20 cricket, having led Mumbai Indians to 3 IPL titles, and his record as T20 captain is no different. He has led India in 12 T20s, with the team going on to win 11 of them. New Zealand may be a much more difficult team to beat in the T20 series as compared to the ODI series. With some genuine big hitters, the Black Caps are dangerous and could be lethal in the series. India, on the other hand, showed exactly why they are a world-class side when they beat New Zealand on Sunday in the 5th ODI. It will be a nail-biting affair on Wednesday, and it could be an exciting series with both teams not giving an inch to the other to dominate the game. Sports Desk, TD News.
Well, let's take it one at a time. What can happen in Wellington tomorrow? We've got Anil Thomas, my colleague, joining me in the studio now. Anil, what do you make of how this match is poised? India has the upper hand in recent form, but as far as stats in New Zealand against New Zealand go, it's the Kiwis that come up on top.
Well, purely looking at it from a statistics point of view, India has never tasted success against New Zealand in T20. Having said that, India is number 2 in the world as compared to New Zealand, who's number 6, and India come on the back of a 4-1 series win in one-day series in one-day cricket. So Indians have their tail up. Virat Kohli is not there. But Rohit Sharma has been, a captain par excellence when it comes to leading the team in T20 cricket. He's captained India 12 times, and he's got 11 victories against his name. So he surely has his task cut out there. And I think no team is going to give, the opposition an inch there. And India would be looking to, knock an early win there against their belt and take an early lead in a 3-match series.
But on the eve of the match, what do you make of this Shikhar Dhawan refrain of we're also humans and we also need a break or two, but we always try to win?
Well, here, we're still looking at some spots that need to be settled for the World Cup and also the T20 championships that follow later in the year. So, when Shikhar is talking about it, Shikhar is talking about, excessive cricket being played. After this, we come back to India. We host Australia here, followed by a busy season of IPL. No player wants to miss the mullah there. Right. Followed by the World Cup that comes. You got to understand, cricket in the earlier times used to be, the end of April, players had a break till, the early July. And we used to toss Sri Lanka at the beginning of the season to, indicate that our season is beginning. Now that particular window is over. So players are playing 365 days, are traveling 365 days a year, playing almost 250 days of cricket in a year. So it's taking a toll on the players. I think, the players need to be rotated well. Virat has got a, well-deserved break here, 2 ODIs followed by the 3 T20s that he is not playing. I think it's time now because, the team looks settled. There are a few spots that still need to be taken. A number 4 that's still available for a player to be taken. So this is
then a great opportunity to rotate those players?
Well, this is a great opportunity, yes. I would say, Dinesh Karthik still not cemented his place. Ambaiti Rayudu has a 90 behind him in the last game. And I think Ambaiti is, in all certainty booked his ticket for the World Cup with that knock. Dinesh Karthik is a great finisher, but he's still not, grabbed that opportunity that came his way with both hands.
And what about the keeper slot? There's the MS Dhoni, of course, who's done very well in that ODI series as well. And then there's Rishabh Pant, who some say is a good person to bring in even as a bat and not as a keeper. So both Dhoni and Pant could find space.
Well, that would be asking too much. I would surely think that Rohit would go with MSD there in the middle because, MSD brings that experience and MS has been, in striking form there behind the stumps and also with the bat. So Rohit purely would look at, though Rohit and Dhoni when they play IPL are, bitter rivals, Mumbai versus Chennai, but they are great friends there on the field and Rohit would bank on, say, MSD's experience to, help him sail through and keep that record that he holds of having 11 wins
in 12 matches.
In 12 matches. He would like to keep that record going, and I think he would surely opt for MSD. Rishabh Pant is surely an option that you need to look at. See, if India pockets that series 2-0, Rishabh gets the third game in the middle. At the end of the day, we are looking at Rishabh Pant to come good for India post 2019 World Cup. We are looking at grooming those juniors who can, automatically find the places into the senior team. And I think having Rishabh getting that experience.
Another person is Shubman Gill.
Yes, Shubman Gill has not got the 2 opportunities that came his way. He's not made it count. Maybe this is the game, where he gets in a number 3 spot there because Virat is not there. He could get that number 3 spot there. He could make it count in this 3-match series and maybe look at a place post that World Cup. I think the World Cup team looks almost settled. That number 4, Ambaiti has taken that number 4 spot. The number 6 is still there. You still a toss-up between Hardik Pandya, Kedar Jadhav. 2-3 contenders there. But I think Virat, once he gets back home, Virat would have that, very clear in his mind what he takes into that, 2019 World Cup in England. So,
do you think things are uncertain for a player like Hardik Pandya in the playing 11?
Not exactly in the playing 11. He could be finding, at this point of time, we're still not clear on, what Ravi Shastri. Ravi Shastri is also not given a blueprint there at the end of that one-day series. He's also spoken about many spots that still need to be filled. Having said that, Hardik has come good with the bat as well as with the ball. But we need to see, on how Virat looks at it because Virat believes in going into a game with 5 specialist bowlers there. He wants 6 batsmen there. So there are some ifs and buts that still need to be sorted out. Hardik surely would, could be on that ticket to England, but Hardik finding a place in the playing 11 is still, according to conditions or, pitches that are offered there in the World Cup.
This is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about the the other components of the bowling squad?
Well, I think the bowlers have picked themselves up. The Indian bowling has been spectacular in the Test series in Australia, the one days, followed by the one days that we played in New Zealand. It's the bowlers who set matches for us. And even in this particular series that we played, Mohammad Shami, the only player I would, who could, who there was some element of doubt on his form. He failed that yo-yo test there, but I would say, he sneaked into that Indian team. But, he's made it count. If you look at the, two man of the matches that he got in the last one-day series, followed by the man of the series in the series against New Zealand, he's making it count. I think the bowling unit looks settled. There is a toss-up now on, whether we go into a game with two spinners or we operate with one.
Okay, and how are the Kiwis looking at this point? Are they looking like a solid side, or is there a lot of things, uncertainties in terms of the playing 11 there as well?
Well, Kiwis have, not much to, I would say they have nothing to lose in this particular series, purely in terms of, they don't have Martin Guptill playing for them. Trent Boult.
He has some injury.
Yeah,
he's picked it up.
Trent Boult, the wrecker-in-chief in that fourth ODI against India, he's skipping this particular T20 series. So they are purely banking on their batsmen to come and deliver for them, and then their bowlers coming to the party. But the problem for them is that the Indian pacers have always kept, New Zealand have never got good starts in this particular series, and that's been their cause of concern. The New Zealanders would be looking purely to gain, at least keep that momentum going. They have never lost to India in T20s in New Zealand. They're looking at that particular charm to work for them. That's not all. The Wellington, the venue that they are playing, if you look at the last 4 T20s that they have played, New Zealand is always tasted success. So New Zealand has something going for them at Wellington. They are hoping that tomorrow all the puzzles in that all the pieces in that jigsaw puzzle come together and they're able to surprise India.
And how much will the venue itself, the toss and the weather matter?
Well, New Zealand, you can have on and off, rains coming in and, pushing you back to the dressing room. But that Wellington wicket is small. You will see big scores being created there. If India, any captain that wins the toss there would, surely love to bat first because, if India is backing their, the batters to come good. So India would be looking at, an option to bat first. Having said that, the New Zealanders, have 1 or 2 players there who don't have the experience of playing 20. They're going to make their debut tomorrow. So the New Zealand captain does have some choices to make. And, it could be interesting to see, how Kane Williamson, uses himself there in the team because, along with Ross Taylor, they 2 other players, who are the backbone of New Zealanders. And New Zealand need these 2 players to come good. They did come good in patches, but New Zealand need them to have an extended run for them to make it count in this T20
But,
series.
to win, you're saying that a big score, 200 plus, would perhaps be necessary. But considering the way sometimes the Indian batsman, especially the top order, has just, thrown it away against the swinging deliveries of the Kiwi bowlers, do you think they'll have a cautious start if they bat first, or will they go after the bowlers right from the word go?
Well, T20, you don't have much time to relax, but I would say 200 plus on New Zealand tracks would be asking too much in T20 cricket. You would see scores that are in the range of 140 to 180, being set up for the series.
That would be considered a
that
high
could be
score.
a par score there,
Par score,
in New Zealand to, make a match of it. New Zealand, you don't see very high scores because New Zealand, there is a bit of movement that's there for the bowlers. And the batsmen cannot come out and, play it like, how they play the IPL. You just cannot come out there and play bang cricket. You need to get yourself there, you need to find your footing there in the middle, and it takes an over or 2 for the players to come. But you can surely expect entertaining cricket to happen there because New Zealand, remember they were pushovers in that one day series that we played. They lost the series 1-4, but in T20, I think, we can see a much tighter finish in the 3 matches.
And the Pacers will definitely get a good, turn as far as their attack is concerned. What about the spinners? Will Wellington offer purchase to spinners like Chahal or Kuldeep or even Ish Sodhi?
Well, if you look at the way in which both the spinners have approached, the series against New Zealand, New Zealand seems to be somewhere getting into ifs and buts when it comes to playing the spinners. And New Zealand once upon a time had a great spinner in Deepak Patel, the 1992 World Cup where he opened the bowling for them. So New Zealanders were known to play spin well, but, slowly and steadily, if you see, this pace spin fight where, Pacers have somewhere outdone the spinners. New Zealand seem to be getting into a shell when it comes to playing spin bowling. And if you look at both Chahal as well as Kuldeep, both have conceded less than, a little over 5 in one-day cricket, bowling not only across bowling to New Zealand batsmen, but across batsmen across the world. Having said that, it will be difficult for them to come out and, find chinks in both Kuldeep as well as Chahal's armory. But New Zealanders, will be cautious the way they approach the 8 overs between the two spinners.
Okay, and is there room for somebody like Kedar there as well?
Well, I would say, if you look at the team combination that, Rohit would go into, Rohit would surely like to have Kedar there in the middle. But given the options, Rohit, the team that he would be looking at, Kedar would come in somewhere, if this contest is tight somewhere, if India is clearly looking at a 2-0 lead, Kedar comes into the fray. Otherwise, Kedar would be sitting out.
Okay, let's see what happens then. It's very tantalizingly set up, this T20 series, starting with that first match in Wellington. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Anil Thomas. Okay, we're still talking cricket, and that's domestic cricket now. The spin duo of Aditya Sarwate and Akshay Gokhare picked up 9 wickets between them to give Vidarbha a slender 5-run first innings lead, but Saurashtra were very much in the contest at close of play on the third day in Nagpur. Snail Patel completed his second first-class century, but it really was their gutsy lower-order batting, led by captain Jaydev Unadkat, that kept Saurashtra in the contest against Vidarbha in the Ranji Trophy 2018-19 final at Nagpur. Starting the day on a precarious 158 for 5 in response to the defending champions 312, Saurashtra slid to 184 for 7 when Patel fell to Umesh Yadav for 102. But like in the Vidarbha first innings, the last few batsmen came good, taking them to 307 before the last wicket fell, giving Vidarbha only a lead of 5 runs. And by close of play, Vidarbha had reached 55 for 2 with Ganesh Satish on 24 and Wasim Jafar on 5. Faiz Fazal, the captain, and R. Sanjay are both back in the change room. Dharmendra Singh Jadeja's left arm spin having accounted for both of them. Now, West Indies have confirmed Craig Braithwaite will captain the side in the absence of suspended Jason Holder during the third test against England. Regular skipper Holder will serve a one-match ban for his side's slow over rate during their second test victory. Braithwaite captained West Indies in a series defeat in Bangladesh in November during Holder's absence through injury. Bowler Kimo Paul, who has 2 test caps, has been called up to replace Holder in the 14-man squad. Bowler Alzari Joseph has been included despite the death of his mother during the second test in Antigua. West Indies lead the 3-match series 2-0 after crushing victories in the first 2 tests. The final match between the two sides will begin at St. Lucia on Saturday. Now let's talk football, and Liverpool's lead at the top of the Premier League table stands at just 3 points now after Jurgen Klopp's side could only muster a 1-1 draw against West Ham at the London Stadium. The visitors took the lead in controversial circumstances when an offside James Milner teed up Sadio Mane, who opened the scoring in the 22nd minute. West Ham took just 6 minutes to respond, with Mikel Antonio finding the target to draw level. The draw means Liverpool's 5-point lead at the top of the standings stands at just 3 now, with champions City now able to overtake the Reds should they beat Everton at Goodison Park in midweek. The Hammers, meanwhile, remain in 12th place, but crucially ended a run of 3 straight defeats in all competitions with their hard-earned point against Liverpool. Now, British investigators on Monday said that they had spotted a body in underwater images of the wreckage of the plane carrying footballer Emiliano Sala and pilot David Ibbotson that disappeared in the Channel 2 weeks ago. The wreckage of a plane carrying Argentine footballer Emiliano Sala and his pilot has been found 2 weeks after it disappeared in the English Channel, one of the investigators said on Monday. Sala was flying from France to join his new club Premier League side, Cardiff City, when the light aircraft disappeared on the 21st of January north of the island of Guernsey. Shipwreck hunter David Mearns, who was hired by the striker's family after the official rescue effort was called off, said the plane was found on a Sunday morning. Now, Qatar celebrated its national football team's upset victory at the Asian Cup with a royal welcome and a street parade by jubilant fans in capital Doha. The Gulf nation defeated four-time winners Japan in the final of the 2019 AFC Asia Cup football tournament held at Abu Dhabi's Zayed Sports City Stadium in the United Arab Emirates.
Qatar celebrated its biggest soccer achievement after stunning Japan to win the Asian Cup with impromptu street parades marking the country's long-sought status in a sport that sits at the center of its economic development. Doha streets were gridlocked with cars immediately after the tournament's final whistle blew, as Qataris draped in the country's maroon and white flag slung themselves out of car windows or hopped onto rooftops, horns blaring in celebration. A bitter political rift between Qatar and the Asian Cup host United Arab Emirates meant Qataris were barred from attending the tournament, with their national team forced to play almost entirely without fans, and in the match against the UAE, with shoes lobbed at their players on the pitch.
God bless you. Congratulations for the Qatari people for this victory. With Amir Tamim Al Thani on top of this achievement, the first in history. And God bless the players. 1,000 congrats to every Qatari and everyone living on Qatari land, and to every Arab on this achievement. It's indescribable feeling. We didn't expect to have the Asian Cup, and this win is because of our good intentions, and we dedicate it to His Excellency Amir Tamim and the Amir, the father, and to all the Qatari people. To be honest, it is indescribable. It is like having a son, and even better.
The tiny but wealthy Gulf state has spent millions of dollars to scale up its infrastructure in time to host the 2022 World Cup, the centerpiece of a plan to project itself onto the world stage and diversify its energy-based economy. The Asian Cup title marks the most significant achievement it has yet in the sport, which it has invested heavily in to be seen as a serious global player despite a tiny population of just 300,000 nationals that has long hamstrung its ability to build a competitive team. Sports Desk, DD News.
And that's all we have time for in this edition of Sports News. But for all the latest, stay tuned to DD News.